little bit more machining done then. So we've got the swell of the muzzle, little radius done by hand. The whole lot's done by hand, no CNC at all. So yeah, swell of the muzzle, did the end of the muzzle, just little shapes just to make it look a bit authentic. What I'll do now is just as the laith's rotating, just take the file and slowly just take all the ridges out, because again, I've probably used the wrong tool. Yes, should be a round tool, but it's what I've got, so that's what I'm using. So tungsten tip, again, that's why there's maybe lots of little ridges. But yeah, on the higher speed, the finish comes out fine. So we've got, again, for decoration, we've got an astragal here and little fillets either side. Again, another astragal there. This is strengthening rings, but really just for looks more than anything else. Two more astragals on the other side, and then the trunnion supports. You can see them a lot better now since I've milled them out, since milling should I say. But the one thing with turning a lathe is you got this lump that's left over, which we'll have to take out by hand with either a carbide burr or a flatware disc and a grinder, but I might actually mark this if I use the flatware disc and the grinder. So, but what that gives me an opportunity then is maybe to do some engraving on the top of here, some raised engraving like they had on the original Canon. So I might put my initials or something, I don't know yet. But so next stage is I'll go over this with a file, just to take the edges off some of these, round them off nicely, then a finer sandpaper just to polish it all up a bit, then turn it round and we can finish off the end of the gun, or should I say cannon. So polishing complete on this end of the cannon, came out really well, a bit of emery paper, then finally down to some Scotch-Brite just to give it that extra polish. On to the breech end now, so I'm going to shape the end here, nice little shapes, kind of draw on a little sketch there of how I roughly want it to finish up. Not quite sure yet, but I'll see as I'm going along. Again, I'll do freehand, I'll move the tooling round a bit to suit, so I might put an astragal either end, and there's a couple of little reinforcing rings as well. So after that, again another polish with the files first, a little very fine flat file to get rid of any ridges, and then emery paper, and then Scotch-Brite again on this end. Breech now done. Shape the end to take the knob. My vent hole will go in here, and that's called the vent field there. Take it presumes it stops anything going back the way I'm flashing, but I'll drill the hole in there at some point as well. Polished really nicely again, just to show the whole lot. Next stage is take it out of the lathe, grind this off. Bit of grinding now, as I said earlier, using the burr in the die grinder, ear die grinder, with gloves because of all the revs. So started off with a slightly coarser bit to grind away the worst of it. Then I'm finishing off with just a one with a slightly less of a point, so it allows me to get in about all the trunnions. And what I'll do then is I'll take this in the die grinder, then just smooth off as much as I can beforehand. And as I said, maybe put my initials in it, bit corny maybe, but again, not quite finished it yet. So what I did is I left this bit slightly rough, as you can see. So what I'll do with the die grinder, using that there of course, is using the tip going round here to shape round the trunnion, and you'll see there I've done that already, but it leaves the high spot. So then you've got to, what I did, see the chunk I took out of that there, what I was doing was coming from this end, and you don't realise, but the back end of the die grinder hit it. So what I've learned from this is always come from this direction And then when you're doing this side, you can come from this direction then, so you're not going to hit anything. This. So still a lot of work to do polishing. This is going to take ages doing that. But makers always seem to put their marks on the cannons. It's generally like a logo, like a clan crest, but I stuck with just AS. That'll do so. So, like I said, wee bit more grinding, as you'll see. Quite rough there. But once you get into the smaller one there that I've got in the die grinder, you see the difference. So quite smooth, but the sander will polish all that off, and then it'll clean up round the trunnions as well. You can see it's a little bit rough as well. Final clean up, and then a polish. Turned out not bad. Finish on there came up really well. It took a lot of work, took about 2 hours just to do that bit there, to grind it all the way and polish it. So the final polish had to do with a little Dremel and a little brass brush, but it was mainly coarse sandpaper after the die grind, and then emery, and just with fingers. So fingers are in bits just now, but yeah, came up okay. Next job, trunnions and the ball.